You're not in control of your mind is in control of you. And the scariest part, you think that voice in your head is you, but it's not. It's a system shaped by fear, failure, and years of lies. And if you don't break it, it will break you. And most people are slaves to the endless noise inside their head. But your thoughts are not your identity. They're just responses, habits, memories, beliefs, and fear is layered over time. The first step to taking control is to create separation between you and your mental chatter. Observe your thoughts, don't obey them. If you don't claim your mind, the world will claim it for you. You see, most people spend their entire lives reacting to thoughts that were never truly theirs to begin with. Thoughts shaped by trauma, thoughts planted by society, thoughts repeated by parents, friends, and failures so many times that they became mental software. And then we wonder why we feel out of control. Let's get one thing straight, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness watching those thoughts. And until you truly understand the difference, you'll always be a slave to a machine that was never taught how to shut up. Your mind is like a wild horse, beautiful, powerful, but dangerous when left untrained. And what do most people do? They cling to every thought that pops into their head like it's the voice of God. I'm not good enough. I'm gonna fail. This will never work. As if your mind holds some sacred truth. No, your mind holds noise, fragments, illusions, memories, and most of it, junk. It's not about eliminating thoughts. You can't stop the river, but you can learn how to step out of the current. You can become the one who sees the thought and says, no, not this one. That's not the voice I'm listening to today. The moment you create that distance, even for a second, you become free. That's the first taste of real control. But here's the catch, that freedom isn't permanent. Your mind will keep trying to drag you back into comfort, into fear, into old identity. It whispers like a familiar demon. Don't change. Stay where it's safe. And most people listen because they think it's them speaking. It's not. The real you is the one choosing which voice to believe. And once you realize that, you become dangerous because now you're not reacting, you're commanding, you're not stuck in thought, you're shaping it. That's where all power begins, in that tiny space between stimulus and response, between thought and identity. It's in that space where you decide, am I going to let this thought define me? Or am I going to define what I believe? Right now, you don't need to control every thought. You need to stop letting them control you. Start observing. Pause before you react. Challenge what your mind says. Speak back to it like it's a rebellious child, because that's all it is. A powerful but untrained force. And if you don't take charge, it will. But once you do, once you reclaim the throne of your inner world, then you start living from power, not programming. And the moment you realize that the voice in your head is just a suggestion, not a command, you unlock the beginning of real freedom. Have you ever stopped to ask, who taught your mind how to think? Because the truth is, most people never chose their beliefs. They inherited them from parents, from school, from heartbreaks, failure, disappointment, every word spoken over you, every judgment made against you. Every harsh label you swallowed as truth, they all stuck. And over time, they became your identity, not because they were true, but because they were repeated. Repetition is the subconscious mind's native language. It doesn't learn by logic. It learns by rhythm, by emotional charge, by trauma and repetition. And without realizing it, your mind has become a reflection of your past, not your potential. So here's the problem. Most people spend their adult lives reacting to childhood programming. They walk around with the same emotional responses, the same fears, the same limiting beliefs they formed at 7 or 10 years old. Except now they've dressed them up in adult language and adult excuses. It's not that you're incapable. It's that your program doesn't believe you're capable. And that belief is running the show. Let me tell you something that most people don't want to hear. You cannot build a new life with old thinking. You cannot create a powerful future with a subconscious that's stuck in survival. If your mind is wired for self-doubt, then confidence will feel like a lie. If your mind is wired for chaos, then peace will feel like boredom. If your mind is wired for failure, then success will feel threatening, almost undeserved. This is why so many people sabotage themselves the moment something good starts happening. Their subconscious programming simply can't handle it. So they find a way, consciously or unconsciously, to pull themselves back down into the version of life they're most familiar with. Not what they want, what they know. And the subconscious always clings to what it knows, because safety always wins over growth in a mind that's been trained by fear. That's why real change isn't about just trying harder. It's about reprogramming the source. You have to recondition your mind the same way it was conditioned, through daily repetition, through new words, new visions, new emotional experiences. Not once a week. Now you feel like it every single day. Your subconscious doesn't care what's true. It believes what's familiar. So make greatness familiar, make discipline familiar, make peace familiar, make ambition familiar. Flood your system with a new standard, and eventually your subconscious will stop resisting and start reflecting it. Because the moment you decide that the old voice in your head doesn't get to write your story anymore, that's the moment the transformation begins. You cannot out-achieve your identity. You cannot out-hustle your core belief system. Eventually, your subconscious will pull you back into the version of life it thinks is safe for you. So instead of fighting your mind, train it. Show it a new pattern. Teach it a new vision. Give it new evidence through behavior, through commitment. through repetition. And watch what happens when your programming starts working for you instead of against you. Because once your subconscious believes it's possible, your entire life begins to move in that direction, whether you're watching or not. There's a dangerous illusion that most people live under. They think they are making conscious choices. They believe they're in control, that they're driving their life forward through free will. But let's get brutally honest, most people aren't living. They're just remembering. They're not creating new thoughts or actions. They're recycling past experiences, same patterns, same habits, same outcomes, not because they want to stay stuck, but because they don't realize they're operating from a blueprint buried so deep in the subconscious, they can't even see it. Let me explain something that will shift how you view your entire life. The subconscious mind isn't passive, it's predictive. It's constantly scanning the environment, predicting what's likely to happen based on what already happened. And then it prepares you emotionally, mentally, and physically to re-experience the same thing. That's why even when nothing bad is happening, you feel anxious. That's why even when someone praises you, you feel undeserving. That's why when an opportunity shows up, you talk yourself out of it. Because your subconscious isn't looking for truth, it's looking for consistency with your past. This is why breakthroughs often feel threatened. Your conscious mind says, let's grow. Your subconscious screams, let's survive. Growth is unfamiliar, it's unstable, and the subconscious hates instability. It sees it as danger. So what does it do? It triggers self-doubt. It turns on the inner critic. It makes you procrastinate, overthink, numb out, argue, escape, whatever it takes to pull you back into the predictable version of you. And if you don't recognize that pattern, you'll think it's you. But it's not you, it's just programming. This is why awareness is the beginning of all freedom. When you become the observer of your own reactions, when you start to notice the automatic thoughts and emotional loops, you gain leverage. Because now you're not just reacting, you're watching. And that means you can interrupt the cycle. This is where you reclaim your power, not in some massive life overhaul, but in small moments of choice. You feel the fear rise up, and instead of backing down, you speak. You hear the voice say, you're not good enough. And you challenge it. You notice yourself avoiding something important, and you lean into it anyway. These are the micro decisions where transformation begins. See, your subconscious doesn't change through inspiration. It changes through evidence. It has to see you behave differently over and over until your new identity becomes more believable than the old one. So stop waiting for your subconscious to support you. It won't, not at first. You must lead it. You must be louder than the fear, more consistent than the doubt, more committed than the programming. And slowly the system starts to bend. It learns, it adapts. It begins to trust this new version of you. And once your subconscious starts predicting success instead of sabotage, that's when momentum explodes. That's when the effort feels natural. That's when you stop trying and start becoming. Because real change isn't when you do something new. It's when being that new version of yourself becomes familiar. And when that happens, you're no longer fighting your mind. You're aligned with it. And when your subconscious and your conscious mind move in the same direction, let's talk about the one habit that's silently shaping your entire life, what you focus on. Because focus is not neutral. What you give your attention to doesn't just color your experience, it creates it. Whatever you feed your mind becomes your mental reality. And the subconscious doesn't filter it. It doesn't question your focus. It just absorbs it. If you constantly focus on what's missing, your subconscious begins to believe that lack is your default state. If you obsess over problems, your subconscious begins to search for more of them, not because it hates you, but because it's trying to be efficient. It thinks this must be important. Let's find more of it. And that becomes your lens. Your identity, your life. You see, the mind is like a garden, and your focus, that's the water. You can water weeds or you can water growth, but don't be surprised when your mental garden reflects your attention. Now, here's the kicker. Most people aren't focusing intentionally. They're focused reactively. They focus on fear because it's loud. They focus on distraction because it's everywhere. They focus on comparison because social media has trained inadequate without even realizing it. And over time, their subconscious becomes a storage unit for scarcity, doubt, anger, and helplessness. Not because that's who they are, but because that's what they've been looking at. Focus is not just about productivity. It's about identity, because what you repeatedly focus on becomes what you believe. If you spend your days focusing on why you're behind, why others are ahead, why nothing's working, your subconscious will sculpt your entire worldview around that narrative. And the scariest part is it'll feel true, not because it is true, but because you've been staring at it long enough for it to become familiar. The subconscious always prioritizes the familiar over the factual. So if you want to reshape your life, you don't start with your goals, you start with your focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your habits follow, and your habits define your future. It's a chain reaction that starts with one decision. What are you choosing to see? Do you look in the mirror and see what's wrong or what's evolving? Do you look at your failures and see proof you can't or patterns you can outgrow? Do you focus on what's out of your control or what you can shift right now? You always have a choice. You can either feed your fears or you can feed your future, but you can't do both. And don't misunderstand me. This isn't about ignoring pain or pretending problems don't exist. This is about training your subconscious to stop living in survival mode and start noticing opportunity, beauty, strength, and growth. If your mind is going to build an identity around your attention, give it something worth building around. Start feeding your brain with what you want more of. Speak the language of strength. Visualize solutions, not just obstacles. Celebrate progress, not just perfection, because over time, your subconscious will adjust its lens and you begin to see a version of reality that empowers you, not limits you. You don't get what you want. You get what your subconscious believes is normal. Change what you focus on, and you change what your mind believes is possible. If this message moved something inside you, don't let it fade. Take action. Reclaim your mind one thought at a time. And if you want more powerful reminders like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Your mind can either be your prison or your power. The choice is yours. Let me know if you'd like a more emotional version or something even more direct.